Good morning, everyone. Here we are. It is, of course, Fruit Not News. On today is, of course, the first of April 2000, and of course 26. So Happy New Year to everybody. Happy New Year. This is the day when the Billy bullshitters basically tricked us into believing that, of course, New Year's Day was the 1st of January. Most people fell for it. Most people still fall for it. Most people really haven't learnt fuck all. So it's actually quite an interesting day today. It is, of course, the tax year begins today as well, which I always found very unusual as to why the tax year begins on the 1st of April, and yet the first of the new year is supposed to be in January. But then, of course, I realised the truth. The truth was that April Fool's Day, as it was rebranded, was known as the day that they fooled you. The day that they fooled you. And, of course, today they are once again trying to fool you again. They are once again trying to fool you again. And this, of course, is the Artemis 2. They're trying to convince you that they're going to the moon, but they're not. They're trying to convince you that they're going to fly around the moon, but they're not. They're trying to convince you that they're even going to get anywhere fucking near it. Very interesting. And if you listen to the language, they are reinforcing the idea that they did get there in 1965. Unfortunately, they can't get there now, which is actually quite an interesting thing, especially when they tell you that this is an exploratory mission in order that astronauts will be able to go to the moon and basically live there, and they're going to build a moon base there apparently. But of course, what they haven't realised is, of course, is that there's one little problem, and that little problem is called the Van Halen belt, and nobody can get past the Van Halen belt. Okay. And the Van Halen belt, is, of course, the firmament, as you well know, or you should well know. And if you don't well know, well, you bloody well should bloody well know, because it's all there in plain sight. It's all there in plain sight. So, let's have a quick hello to everybody. Nina Turner, Sharon Young, Brenda Harris, Kelly Close is in, Livia's in, Christine's in, Graham's in, Michael's in, Mimi's in, Jason Thomas is in, Leslie's in, Alan Spadge is in, Diane Williamson, Glenn Pearson, Sarah P, Mira's in, Angela Davis, Kira's in, Yon Keely's joining us today as well, Sue Allen's in, Island's in, Annette Lynn's in, Ann Taylor's in, Angela Wilson's in, Sheila Douglas in, Cass Myers in, and of course Valerie Mooney. So good morning to all of you lot. So what do we got today for you? Well, Saudi Arabia apparently are no longer going to buy American weapons. Very interesting move, that one. We'll wait and see. Meanwhile, Tesco, of course, said that the minimum wage is causing their profits to basically take a dramatic nosedive. Well, we found out that Tesco last year made £4 billion in profit. That basically is selling shit food to a lot of gullible people, and they made £4 billion profit, ladies and gentlemen. But of course, apparently their profits are being attacked by the actual workers that actually make the £4 billion in profits. But of course, as you well know, when you become a CEO, you don't really give a fuck about that. Do you know what I'm saying? Very interesting. Yeah. And the profits of Tesco basically trebled during COVID. Trebled, ladies and gentlemen. Trebled. Yeah, trebled. There you go. So, yeah. Now, this is quite an interesting one. Australia, UK, and the US are addressing their countries, okay, all at the same time. The question is, why? Australia, UK, and the US. Very interesting. They're all, of course, run by Mossad, UK, colonials. Very interesting. Anyway, we'll wait and see. Now, meanwhile, Caroline Leavitt is Trump's spokeswoman, and she appeared, I think it was yesterday or the day before, with what appeared to be a black eye. The question is, where did that black eye come from, and how did she get it? Anyway, we'll wait and see. Now, it appears that Donaldo managed to somehow dodge the Vietnam War, even though he was illegible. So this is quite an interesting one, isn't it? Now, of course, we can't blame the Trump at the moment, because the Trump, the real Donald Trump, of course, as you well know, died in a helicopter crash a few years ago now. But anyway, that's another story. So, yeah. And apparently back in the day, I think Donald was in a military school or something. He was awarded one of his medals that he wears proudly on his tunic, was a medal for being extremely neat. It is actually a fucking pantomime. It's a pantomime, ladies and gentlemen. And then, of course, we've got the UK Parliament. Now, we know that cousin marriages not only are very bad for women's rights, but they also have very complicated health issues that the NHS, of course, have to deal with in all kinds of different ways. And so it puts a great burden on the NHS from a financial point of view, or should we say from a tax point of view. Now, there was a ruling that cousin marriage should be banned in the UK. The current government voted against it. Doesn't really say much about the Friends for Israel, does it? No, not very good at all. Now, yesterday, for Keir Starmer invited a very interesting character into number 10 for some tea and biscuits and a little chat. We're not sure whether he got his bum out or he bent over the office desk. We'll probably never know. But it was the former general of ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Now, I thought that ISIS and Al-Qaeda were separate entities. It appears that they're not. They're the same entities, as you well know. So there you go. And Starmer also admitted that he cannot stop Ed Miliband, even though he is a dangerous man. Very interesting. I wonder why. And then, of course, now we all know that Keir Starmer, of course, is a human rights advocate. He is a human rights advocate and a human rights advocate. And yet, Israel yesterday issued a new law to kill Palestinians, and yet Keir Starmer actually said nothing about it whatsoever. He actually said nothing about it whatsoever. Mind you, of course, as you well know, Keir Starmer, Mahmoud, David Lammy, there's many of them, they all are, of course, friends of Israel. And of course, they don't want to say anything against Israel, do they? No, because they're getting paid far too much money to actually say anything about it. And here's another interesting thing as well. Meanwhile, while Donald Trump is supposedly smashing the Iranian gangs, Israel are refusing to send troops to Iran, and yet they are quite happy to bomb children in Gaza and also bomb children in Lebanon, which is a rather interesting concept, don't you think? No wonder, no wonder American families are a little bit pissed off. Anyway, Scott Mills. Now, Scott Mills sacked 12-year-old boy back in the 90s. I don't know about you, but we'll just have to wait and see. We will just have to wait and see. Now, excuse me, Labour has said that we are not going to help motorists with the fuel crisis. Oh, okay, there you go. So it's going to be an interesting May the 7th, don't you think? I actually don't think we're going to have anything happen on May the 7th. I don't think there will be anything. I think it'll all be over by then. Now, what else have we got? Now, Zach Polanski, go green, wants everybody to go green, including industry. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think that's going to work very well. But Zach and Zach and the plumber Hannah, they've been renamed Dumber and Plumber. There you go. It's all interesting. Now, we spoke about Cog Island a few days ago. It's actually not about oil, ladies and gentlemen. This is all about data and information. And when that data and information gets brought out from under that island, well, there's going to be some very interesting twitchy arses, even more so than the Epstein files, I do believe. But, yes, it will be interesting. Now, Kemi Badenoch, of course, a friend of Israel, as you well know, or you should know. Badenoch is an interesting name, actually. When you look at it and break it up, it actually spells Bad Enoch. Bad Enoch. Not the good Enoch, of course, the bad Enoch. And remember, there was a book called Enoch, the Book of Enoch. Yes, the book of good Enoch. But Kemi seems to be the. Anyway, now Kemi is now promoting drilling. She wants to bring drilling. She wants to open up the North Sea. But a few years ago, when Kemi was able to open up the North Sea, she didn't want to open up the North Sea as a Conservative Party member. Yeah. So, the question is, why does Kemi want to open up the North Sea? Well, Kemi, of course, is being paid very well by an oil company that want to actually drill in, of course, the North Sea. There you go. It's all very interesting stuff, and when you work it out, now France, of course, as you well know, have just received another £500 million to stop the boats coming across the Channel. Absolutely, utterly useless French police, or should we say, was it a very planned French police? We just can't know. No. The thing is, you can't trust the French as far as you could throw them, because they were just like this during World War II. Now, Beatrice and Eugene have been will not be attending the Easter service this weekend because, of course, there's something very dodgy going on somewhere along the line. It will be very interesting. I'm wondering if we're going to have a Muslim Easter service this year with King Charles, bending the knee for Ramadan. We're not quite sure. You just never know. I'd love to see Camilla in a burqa. Don't know about you, but I'd love to see that. I'd love to see Camilla rocking up for the Easter prayers in a burqa, and same with what's her name, Kate as well. Kate, yeah, very interesting. Now on the sort of the William front, the Daily Mail is a very, very royal paper, and they've come out and said that William is not fit to be the king. They said that William is very lazy. He's very work shy. Apparently, he's very controlling, which would lead you to wonder what happened to Kate for that year that she was missing. And then, of course, they also said that he happens to be very adrift from the people. So there you go. That's the Royal Champion paper not being very championing. Know what I mean? So, we'll wait and see. And, of course, it's a well-known fact now that the king is basically going to turn Britain into an Islamic country. Very interesting. There you go. Now, apparently, car finance. Apparently, millions and millions of people will be getting £829 in compensation from car finance in the past. And this is due to, I think it's mis-selling rules or something. But when you add up 9, 2 and 8, you get 19, which is actually quite an interesting number. Wait and see. What else have we got here? Now, let's look at certain events. Okay. Now, there was a Cobra meeting on Monday about fuel prices. Okay. They didn't do anything about fuel prices. They just had a meeting. They had a cost of living meeting. They didn't do anything about the cost of living. They just had a meeting. The economy. They had a meeting about the economy. They didn't actually do anything about the economy. They just had a meeting. They had a meeting about the rape gangs, but they didn't do anything about the rape gangs. They had a meeting about the illegal immigrants, but they didn't do anything about the illegal immigrants. They had a meeting about terrorism and security in the UK, but they didn't do anything about the security of the UK. They had a meeting about the NHS and how bad the NHS was, but they didn't do anything about, the NHS. And this is what they do. They have a meeting about every fucking thing that you can think of, but nothing ever changes. Nothing ever gets done. Because what they do is they word it that they're having a meeting, and they can then just turn around and say, well, yeah, we had a meeting. And most people just fall for that and, go along the lines of, so to speak. Now, this is an interesting one. The United Nations. Now, we all know about the UN, of course, and if you don't know about the UN, you should know about the UN. Now, the United Nations have ordered the UK to pay slavery reparations and compensation from the slave days, right? But my question is who are we paying? The slaves are dead. The ancestors are dead. So where is this money going? Seems a bit weird to me. And then the funniest thing about this, is that when the motion for the UK was put forward to pay slavery compo, Rachel Reeves, the UK's person, abstained from voting. It's absolutely hilarious, honestly. It's absolutely hilarious. It really, really is. And now Claudia Winkleman. Claudia, of course, was seen at a rally a few days ago, blaming the far right and all that bollocks. Anyway, that's not important. But of course, Claudia left strictly in a very big fanfare of partying and all this kind of thing, and she basically apparently is going to be replaced by Miranda Hart. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't quite think Miranda is going to cut the deal. But anyway, we'll wait and see. Now, apparently, Claudia is in a bit of a pickle because the new chat show that she hosted was basically lambasted as being very dull, very boring, and full of bullshit. So she is, of course, also a friend of Israel. That seems to be a very interesting theme, doesn't it? A friend of Israel. Are you a friend of Israel? No, I certainly fucking aren't. Now, here's a good one. 2 Albanians were caught coming into Dover, driving into Dover, and they just happened to have weapons in their car. Now, the 2 gang members from Albania, of course, apparently were rendezvousing with Albanian UK gang members, and they obviously were caught. Now, the police confiscated the guns. They gave them a little chat and a cup of tea, and then they let them go. Fucking. Not only that, these were not normal policemen. These were counter-terrorism police. Fucking hilarious. Now, taxi drivers in London. This, of course, is linked to the rape gangs that Sadiq Khan says do not exist. So official figures now from a Freedom of Information Act have said that sex attacks in London have tripled from 24 to 25. Rape and assault is also a direct link to, of course, the rape gangs. Now, apparently, cabbies have been targeting kids more than any other group. Really? Very interesting. Now, Donald Trump has decided that he's going to leave Iran, even if he doesn't get a deal. Now, I don't know about you, but quite a number of bombs have been dropped on Iran. Quite a bit of money has been spent on getting everybody out there. Quite a lot of stuff has happened, and Donald says we are going to leave whether we get a deal or not. Now, I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a second, but it actually does make quite an interesting headline. I think that there is a large amount of confusion created, of course, by Mr. Trump, and whether or not you think this is good or bad is, of course, entirely up to you. That's your opinion. You can do whatever it is you like. But yeah, confusion, confusion is an art. Confusion is a very good art, and then Iran has fired back. Now, this is interesting as well from a geopolitical point of view as well. Now, Iran have given America 3 ultimatums. Okay, not 4, 3. Okay, they've told and they've got 2 months to achieve this. All 50,000 troops are to leave the Middle East, or the war will continue. All economic sanctions on Iran are to be lifted. Now, these sanctions, apparently, I don't know what they are, but apparently they've been in place since 1979, which is actually quite an interesting thing. I'd like to know what the economic sanctions are, to be honest. But anyway, we'll wait and see. Iran will be compensated with $500 billion. That's 500 billion. Okay, 1,000 billion is a trillion. Okay, so and that's for damage to infrastructure, etc., etc., etc. So I just thought that was I don't know, Jasara Nasara-ish. Anyway, I'll just leave that there. Just leave that there. So we'll wait and see. Maybe if the sanctions are lifted on the oil, maybe that will bring down the oil prices. I think as well, I'm sure there's some, Jason will know this, I'm sure the sanctions also include that the oil can only be bought with dollars. Now, that's an interesting one when you think about the fall of the dollar. Okay, Jason said yes, so it must be yeah. So this is all down to the petrodollar system. So it looks to me like whatever's happening in Iran is going to be a direct impact on the fall of the petrodollar. And of course, as you well know, or you should do, we have to go back. Okay, we have to go back. We have to go back to a gold-backed system. Okay. Now, listen, I've got no idea how the fuck this is going to work. I haven't got a clue. Okay. But I do know that it's going to go back to gold and silver. Okay, so that is an interesting thing when we sort of we're looking at how the petrodollar system will fall. We are looking at how the new system will be brought in. We know that the petrodollar is fake. We know that You know, I mean, you should be able to buy petrol and all that in you know, all your fuel in yen or francs or Deutschmarks or whatever, because that's the country, whatever you trade in. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's just a bit weird to me. But anyway, we'll wait and see. And then, of course, we've got the very, very gorgeous Tony Blair. Once again, Tony Blair is, of course, a friend of Israel. And he's commented on the genocide in Gaza, okay, and Lebanon, of course. And Tony says that anyone saying that Israel committed genocide is totally anti-Semitic. Well, no, we're not anti-Semitic, Tony. All right, Tony. We're not anti-Semitic, Tony, but what we are against is, or what we don't like, is the fact that this country, Israel, seems to be breaking all international rules and regulations in regards to war. But not only war, they are also breaking every international agreement on human rights, okay? They're bombing the shit out of it. And this is, and like I said to you earlier, this is the amazing thing. Here they are, right, bombing the shit out of children and women and people in Palestine and Lebanon, and yet none of the fuckers, none of the IDF, none of them are fighting with Donald Trump in Iran. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's all a shit show, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, rules for thee and not for me. Comes to mind. Yes, I totally agree with that one there. Anyway, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get myself off. I'm sure you've fed up of hearing me talking there. And we will see you all again. Later on. It is, of course, Tuesday, the 1st, so Happy New Year to everybody. Remember, it's not April Fool's Day. April Fool's Day was when you were fooled into thinking that this day was April Fool's Day. And remember that Artemis 3, or 2, or whatever you want to call it, is basically just a shit show to try and convince you that there was some form of a moon landing. But it's clear that no fucker's going anywhere. Know what I mean? They can't get off the planet, so they're trying to break through the firmament, which is actually impossible. And because, of course, what they know is, they know the timeline is coming. They know that darkness is going to turn into light, and they know that they're going to get frazzled, and it's going to be far worse than frazzle drip for them. Oh, it's going to be far worse. You really will wish you didn't participate in frazzle drip, Hillary Clinton. Where you're going, you're not going to survive. Anyway, listen, take care, love you loads. We'll see you all again soon. Cheers, bye.